Hi everyone, I hope all is well. I think you've been waiting for long enough for this olive leaf extract report back video. So without further ado, let's get into it. Just excuse my videoing skills and the colors might be slightly different, but we'll hope that everything is good. So if you've been following along and you've been seeing the photographs in some of the previous videos, you'll know that I got a whole bunch of olive leaves from a friend, which I heated, extracted the color from, and then dyed various yarns with that extract. So into the leaf extract, I placed this cotton bag. Into the cotton bag, I placed 2 bunches of yarn. This one here is a superwash merino, and this one is a combination of, I don't want to lie to you, it is 60% merino wool, non-superwash, 20% kid mohair, and 20% superfine alpaca. So this one can be classified as a non-superwash, and this one can be classified as a superwash. So as you can already see, the superwash took on a lot more color than the non-superwash, and that is to be expected. I was not surprised by this result at all. The very nature of a superwash is different to a non-superwash natural fiber yarn. So bear that in mind if you're going to try this for yourself. So into this little bag went the 2 samples, and they went into the pot that I was extracting the color out of the leaves from. So they were super concentrated. So the weight of goods is a lot higher for these 2 than the remainder of the colors that I'm going to show you today. I did not achieve this color again with the extracts simply because I used a lot more yarn with a lot less extract. So if you want to try and get a color like this, you're going to use a lot of olive leaves. I would guess that I had about maybe between 500 grams and 700 grams of olive leaves. And this was maybe 5 grams of yarn, if that much. So if you want to dye 100 grams, you're probably going to need at least a kilogram, if not more, of olive leaves. Just bear that in mind. Then I wanted to keep the little cotton bag just that you can see the difference between wool and cotton. So the olive leaf extract is going to dye your cotton, but barely. It's just going to give a very light color. But the yarn, you're definitely going to get a color from. Then just quickly with these little bits, I took then a cutting from those 2, and these 2 went into bicarbonate of soda. So they basically stayed the same color. It went a little bit darker. On the non-superwash, it went a little bit more golden. I hope that you can see that here on the camera. I then did exactly the same thing, but the 2 cuttings went into an acidic medium. And let's bring that up closer that you can see. So that was the superwash and the non-superwash. And definitely it's almost like the acid stripped the color, but it went a little bit more like how it is here on the cotton. So much lighter, more of a beige on the non-superwash, and the superwash also much lighter. So if you're going to put your yarn into an acidic medium, that is what is going to happen. And then just for fun, I decided to see what it will do in a bath of what is the stuff called? Ammonia. So it should be actually very similar to the bicarbonate of soda because it's also raising the pH, but the ammonia is obviously also much stronger. So if I hold these up for you to see, the one in the ammonia definitely went a lot darker. The non-superwash, not really. That actually just went a little bit more into the beiges, I suppose you want to call it. But the non-superwash definitely on a high concentration, weight of goods, yarn to fiber, dye to fiber, you would definitely get this really rich dark color by changing the pH to very high. And then finally, just for fun, I decided to see what it would do if exposed to iron. And between the one that was done in the ammonia and the one that was done into the iron, really not much difference. So whether or not you're going to give it an iron bath or an ammonia bath, I would actually rather do the ammonia bath, because as you know, the iron can be quite hectic on the wool. So that's just all these little bits. So now I will keep these two here, take that out the way, and then we can go into the yarn and the colors. So in front of us here we have, and then into that where I was extracting the yarn from was approximately 6 liters of liquid. So that I divided into 6 1-liter tubs. So from the first 3 liters that came out of that, I took yarn that had been pre-mordanted and soaked that into 1 liter of extract each and applied heat. So that's what the colors look like on a superwash. This is also a superwash. So you can see in the two superwashes, we've got a very, very similar yellow, beautiful yellow color. These yarns are all by African Expressions SAMIL in Port Elizabeth, South Africa. That's the only yarn I use. The quality is fantastic. So this one is in the Harmony range. That is a Aran weight yarn. It is a superwash yarn, very nice yarn to work with. And this is their DK. This one is called Charmed, also a superwash yarn. Then this one is the non-superwash natural fiber yarn. This one's called Enchanted. This is the one that's 60% merino non-superwash, 20% kid mohair, and 20% superfine alpaca. Also a great yarn to work with. Just that you can see the difference between the superwashes on the outside, the non-superwash, so the animal fibers, even though they had exactly the same amount of dye in the dye baths, the color on the non-superwash is a much lighter yellow than on the superwash, which is to be expected. That's what one would expect. But if I put the samples in front of you, even though that is a superwash, compared to these superwashes, the color is actually nowhere near. So definitely, if you want to achieve these colors, these very, very dark, saturated colors, you're going to need a lot more dye medium than what I have here. So this was a liter out of 6 liters, so it's already a 1/6 concentration and only about 500 to 700 grams of leaf extract for everything that I'm going to show you here. So I definitely want to repeat this, but with a much higher concentration, because I just love these colors. That's what I want to achieve again. Nothing wrong with these, but they're just yellow. So that was the first extract. Then what I did is I took from the same first extract, I did these ones. I will explain to you in a moment what's happening over here. So I swapped up the yarn a little bit for my sock people. So on the outsides is the sock yarn from African Expressions. It's called Soul. It's a fantastic yarn. And in the sock yarn is 15% kid mohair, 15% mulberry silk, 50% superwash merino wool, and 20% polyamide. It's much thinner too, being a sock yarn, 4-ply. And then in the middle is the Harmony, so that is the superwash. So we're comparing almost apples with apples in terms of the fact that they are all superwash. The difference is this one here on the right hand side was not mordanted. This one on the left hand side was mordanted. So also you will be able to see a big difference if I hold these two up for you. One is the one on the right hand side is no mordant, and the one on the left hand side is mordanted. So also you're gonna get a color if you don't use a mordant, because in my research there are tannins present in the olive leaf extract, so the tannins themselves will be the mordant. But to get this nice color, you're definitely going to want mordant. Just as a little sample, I took a piece of the original yarn that I used here before it got put into color. So this is the same yarn as that one, but all I did was add it to this dye bath of this one with mordant, but no heat. So this one got no heat, and this one got heat. So it doesn't seem like the heating or no heating made any difference at all. That one is cold, that one is hot, definitely a very similar color. This one is also no heat. So both the ones on the outside of the image here that you see got no heat. The one in the middle got heat. But this one was mordanted. These two were not mordanted. Then the third lot I did is, now I'd used up the 6 liters. As you can see, here are 6 skeins. So each one of these got 1 liter of the extract from the olive leaf. Then I filled the olive leaf pot again with water, another 6 liters. I boiled it again, let it do what's called a second exhaust. And then from that, I decided to experiment with tea mordant. So in my alum bath that I'd mordanted these other yarns with, I didn't add more alum, but there's always alum left. I did add 2 tea bags, black tea bags, let that extract for a while, and then into that I added these skeins of yarn, these 3. This one is the DK yarn, which is called Charmed. This one is called Harmony, that is the superwash. So these two are both superwash yarn. And then just for fun in the middle, to compare to the other natural fibers, this is African Expressions Inspire, which is a 100% non-superwash merino wool, but it's a very chunky yarn. It's a 14 ply. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sorry, 8 ply. Very thick, very nice to work with, but also being a non-superwash takes up the color completely differently. So they were mordanted in black tea, which is a tannin, and the alum, and then I added the yarn to it and heat, each one in their own 1 liter of liquid, and that's what I got out of that one. So if we want to compare these to the original 3 colors, let's bring them closer. So it's definitely a little richer. I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but there's let's compare it to this one. There's a much richer color, if you know what I mean. So this yellow is much lighter, more like a buttercup yellow, but this yellow is it's much richer. So this, let's swap these around so they're sitting with their friends. So there, we've got those 2. This one is just plain mordant. This one is mordanted in tannin black tea. Same on this side. That one is plain, just in mordant. This one is mordanted in tannin in black tea. So I don't know, I prefer it's a nicer color. And then just for comparing, I know this isn't really apples with apples, but this is a non-superwash yarn. This is a non-superwash yarn also. That's what the color difference looks like. Let's put these 3 together. Can we see there? Yes. So this was mordanted in normal mordant. This one was no mordant, and this one was in the tannin. So we get these 3 different shades. Let's put these like this also. So mordant, no mordant, mordant, tannin mordant. So that is the 6 colors that you have here. 9 colors, sorry, I can't count today. So I hope the screen's picking it up nicely. But if you just look at this arrangement of yellows, beiges, that's what you're going to get from your olive leaf extract. And then this was just for fun. It's almost going to look more like here into the middle. This also from a non-mordanted yarn. This is the sock yarn from African Expression, Soul. It's only a 50-gram skein. All these others are 100-gram skein. So for this one, I decided after extracting color from the leaves, I was wondering if the stems have any color. So I put all the stems into a little pot, and I added this 50-gram skein to that. Also no mordant, but it did get heat, and that's what this one looks like. So if I hold it up to here, you can definitely see there's a difference in color between the leaves and the stems. So the stems is a much lighter, but there was also a much lighter concentration of color coming out of that than out of this one. So those are our final results of the olive leaf extract. Let me just pick this up again just for reference. I'm going to put these on top here just that you can see. So if you're looking for these strong, I mean, look how strongly saturated this one is. Let's put it here with its friend, and this one here with its friend. You're going to need an extreme amount of products. As I said, I want to experiment with this again. I want to get a lot more olive leaves this time and see if I can recreate this color and this color, because they are amazing. As you can see, the rest are almost just a watered down version of these colors. So I hope that was informative. I hope that those of you out there who do natural yarn dyeing and haven't experimented with olive leaves yet, I hope this has inspired you to do so. It's definitely fun to do. Cooking up the olive leaves, because olive leaf tea is a thing. You can actually drink the olive leaf extract as long as your leaves were clean to start off with. It doesn't have a strange smell in your house. It's very clean. The tannins and the other things that are in the olive leaves make the entire process very clean. It never ever goes all musty or manky. It doesn't grow at all as some natural yarn dyeing does. This is a very nice product to work with, if you can call it that. But that's it, I think. I hope that you've enjoyed this, and as I said, I hope it inspires you to try. And if you have dyed using olive leaf, please let me know. I'd love to see what your results were. Alrighty, that's it. Have a nice day. Bye.